How do we find joy in such a corrupt world? That's what I want to talk about in this video. As we know, this world is full of sin. This world is full of temptations. And this world is all about the flesh. It's all about the body. It's not really about the spirit. So how do we live in a world that's full of sin and temptations? And how do we live for our spirit? How do we find actual joy and peace in this life? Well, it's not easy. And some of you guys might have kids, some of you guys might have families, some of you guys might have a lot more responsibilities than other people. And you're like, I have all these responsibilities, all this stuff to deal with. How do I find like joy and happiness and contentment? Well, that's what I want to cover now. And what it really comes down to is being in a state of presence. What it really comes down to actually is moving from a state of compulsiveness, sort of this compulsive, reactive way of living life, to moving into a state of consciousness. So you're no longer like compulsively reacting to everything that happens around you and, freaking out about everything, but rather you consciously respond to every situation when it arises. So, in other words, moving from reaction to response. Moving from compulsive behavior to responsive behavior. Now, how do we do this? This is why I teach meditation. And the Bible gives us a lot of very important pieces of wisdom, tips, knowledge, whatever you want to call it. And in one specific verse, I think it's Matthew chapter 6, I don't know the exact verse, but Jesus says, take no thought. Take no thought for your life. Take no thought for what you shall eat, for what you shall wear, for what you shall drink, for what you shall put on. He's basically saying, don't overthink these things. Don't overanalyze everything. Just take no thought. He says, for the fowls of the air, the birds of the air, they don't reap, nor do they sow, yet your Father takes care of them. Are you not much better than they? Are you not much better than the birds? Do you think God will take care of you? See, we have to come to this state of sort of peace, not overthinking and overanalyzing everything, in order to find true happiness and joy in life, in everything we do. Because most people think, oh, well, if I change this, if I change that, if I make my life better in this way, if I get rid of this, if I add that, if I get the money, if I get the new job, if I get this, then I'll be happy. No, you won't. You will only be happy if you come to a space of consciousness instead of compulsiveness. And back to meditation, because that verse that I just mentioned from Jesus, take no thought, it kind of relates to meditation as well. Because when you're in meditation, the whole goal is to come to a space beyond thought. Coming to a space beyond thought means coming to a space of presence, being present in everything you do. If you're not present, then you are reactive. However, if you are present, then you can respond to every situation as it's needed. And then you can live a life of joy naturally. Check out this fountain. Normally it's shooting all the way up here and it's got all sort of colors, but that's the main thing. And 1 second. Hello. And that's why meditation is so important, because I'm going to explain it to you. For people who might think it's a woo-woo sort of practice and it's evil and lets demons in, and I don't know, a lot of Christians think that. Let me just explain it to you, the basics of meditation. Meditation is sitting with your thoughts, sitting with your emotions, sitting with your feelings, and simply allowing them to be. It's just this, listen. Instead of trying to solve all of your problems logically and analytically, it is allowing your problems to dissolve. The reason people get so messed up in their own heads is because they try to figure everything out and analyze everything logically. When a lot of times those problems, they'll simply dissolve if you just are in a state of acceptance, in a state of presence, acceptance, meditation. This is how your problems naturally dissolve. Now, how do you meditate if your mind never shuts up? A lot of people have that question. Well, this is where self-discipline comes in. When you're sitting in meditation, you have your eyes closed, sitting in a cross-legged position or sitting on a chair or whatever, your mind will tell you to do 100 different things. Do this, do that, check your emails. See, my mind is telling me to do something right now, and I'm actually going to give into it because this is something amazing. I was talking about this in the last video that I recorded. You might have watched it a couple days ago, or maybe I'm going to post it in a couple days. I don't know if I posted it yet. But I was talking about service. See what this says? Service above self. I just recorded a video on living in your purpose. I'll put it up here if I've already posted it. And now I come past that and it's talking about service above self. There it is again. Service above self. Service above self. So anyhow, when you're in meditation, your mind's telling you to do 100 things. You have to consciously not give in to the mind. See, we all have been programmed a certain way since we were born. Since the day we were born, we've been programmed. And this creates emotional patterns, habits, and behaviors. And if you're not conscious of these things, then they will naturally play out on autopilot. If you become conscious of these things, then you can choose in every situation in life whether to react compulsively or to take a moment, think about it, and respond to the situation as it's needed. Now, how does this relate to finding true joy in a world full of sin and temptation? Well, this idea of reaction versus response, or compulsiveness versus consciousness, can be applied in every situation in life. Everyone. When temptation arises, when the snake comes with the fruit and tells you to eat the fruit, well, what is that? That's your desire arising inside of you, sending a signal down the spine, making your hands and legs want to move towards that thing that you know is not healthy for you and that's eventually going to destroy your flesh. Well, you have to you have the option to either give in to that snake, right? Snake from the Garden of Eden, give in to that desire, or to say, no, get behind me, Satan, as Jesus says. That's every situation in life. Now, when you develop a certain level of self-discipline, that becomes easier to not give in to those fleshly temptations. But without that level of self-discipline, it becomes hard, or not even hard. You just live in ignorance, and you live compulsively, and that's not a way to live. So that's really what it comes down to, guys, is compulsiveness or consciousness. If you're conscious in every situation in life, then look at this. I'm in a rose garden. This is a really beautiful rose garden here. And see, that was kind of compulsive right there, because I was talking and then I got distracted by the roses. But this is a constant practice. This is a constant practice of being conscious in every situation and responding to the things that happen rather than reacting to them. And this is going to be the difference between a joyful life or a miserable life. Most people who are miserable, you'll notice they're very reactive. They're very compulsive about things. So you have to develop yourself in a way where you're no longer super reactive and compulsive about things, but rather conscious. You can respond to every situation that arises. And then you'll be able to maintain your joy, and your joy won't be easily taken away from you when a temptation arises or when something doesn't go the way that you wanted it to go in life. You'll be okay. You'll notice the situation, you'll see it as it is, you'll accept it, you'll be able to see it without immediately reacting, and then you can take a moment, maybe even breathe, and then respond to it accordingly. Does this mean you will never have negative feelings come up? No, even feelings. You have to notice the feeling and ask yourself if you're going to react on that feeling, or maybe just simply be with the feeling, allow yourself to feel it. express it. And if you have time by yourself, express it somehow. You know, sometimes we need to express our feelings in order for them to resolve themselves. Maybe if you're by yourself, you can journal, you know, take a moment. But if you're in a situation with a lot of people, negative feelings come up, just maybe sit with it. This is when meditation comes in handy. Even though you're not like sitting in like a cross-legged meditation right then and there, you come into the space where your whole life is a meditation. Everything you do, you have the ability to consciously respond to that situation, even when feelings arise that you want to act on. So meditation is extremely important, because when you sit there with your thoughts and your feelings and you don't react, then that sort of consciousness plays out in every area of your life, where when situations happen, you simply are able to not react. I think I'm getting redundant here. So that's the end of this video. Hopefully you gained some value. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I have content coming out consistently, and leave a comment down below. Let me know how this resonated with you. Much peace and love. I'll see you. Oh, don't forget to like the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.